this great American road trip, we drove west to Tacoma, Washington, where I attended the Northern Pacific Railway Historical Association convention for several days. We then traveled down the Oregon coast into Northern California, got as far south as Eureka, to Mount Shasta, up to Crater Lake, Oregon. We drove across the deserts of eastern Oregon to Stanley, Idaho, then the Tetons, Yellowstone, Beartooth Pass, and the North Dakota Badlands before heading home. Over 5,700 miles. As travelers, we're not in a great hurry to reach a particular destination, so we drove west on U.S. Highway 12 to the west coast. US 12, one of the few original U.S. highways that's still intact and hasn't been supplanted by the interstate system. We jumped on 12 near Benson, Minnesota, then drove across South Dakota, southwest North Dakota, central Montana, Idaho, and Washington State. And we got to the end of US 12 in Aberdeen, Washington. Well, here we are, the Great American Road Trip. We are in Roundup, Montana. Why? That's a good question. I just saw it on the map and I said, I want to know what's in Roundup. So we're taking US 12 all the way from Minnesota to almost its end in, I think, Aberdeen, Washington. But 12 goes through Roundup and then Helena and Missoula and across the Bitterroots and across Idaho. And today's Sunday, and Tuesday we'll be at Mount Rainier National Park, 3 days in Tacoma, and then we're going to head down the Oregon coast. It is the Great American Road Trip. We're east of Helena, we're right near White Sulphur Springs, Montana, and I just saw this great example of the hills here. You know, the Northern Pacific passenger livery was dark green over light green, and this is where that came from. You'll notice the trees up there are darker green and the hills are then a lighter green, and so that's exactly where that came from. Raymond Loewy saw those colors and said, yep, that's the color we should have on the North Coast Limited. So there we go, green over green. The travelers are at Lolo, Montana, and this is Lolo Creek. It's the West Fork of Lolo Creek. Lewis and Clark stayed here twice on their way west and then back on the way east, and they said this was their favorite campsite, was on Lolo Creek. In their journal, I don't know who is Lewis or Clark, spelled travelers wrong with 2 L's. So when the Northern Pacific rebranded all their passenger service, the North Coast Limited, after World War II, they had a special rail car as part of each train called the Traveler's Rest, and they misspelled travelers. And inside was a history lesson all about Lewis and Clark. And the reason the NP was connected to Lewis and Clark was because much of the NP route followed the route of Lewis and Clark. So there's a connection between the logo on my hat, that railway, and Lewis and Clark and American history. We're at the top of Lewiston Hill. That sounds like a character in a play, Lewiston Hill. Yeah, across the river there, that's the Clearwater River behind us, and that's the Salmon River that is dumping into the Clearwater. That's Lewiston, Idaho on your left, and across the river that way to the west is Clarkston, Washington. So it's quite a view from up here.
It's windy.
It's windy up here too. Yeah, it's good. Let's get a shot. Mount Rainier National Park, and that is Mount Rainier. And we could actually see it earlier today, and I commented that I hear the chances of seeing it are pretty slim, and they said, yes, go look at it while you can. And here we are 2 hours later, and the clouds have moved in, but it's still nice to be here. Beautiful drive. And then this is, I'm not sure what river it is, but it's makes a nice valley and a pretty view. Here's my favorite tourist and me at an overlooking Mount St. Helens, which is right over there. And here we go. We are up the mountain and viewing Mount St. Helens today, or what's left of it. Yeah, we watched the video and did all the tourist stuff, but that's it. That's Mount St. Helens right there. It was that side that blew off, but we're in the blast zone. So
and that's where everything went down.
Yeah, and this is the whatever river, Tootle River, I think. It was just full of logs and everything. So we're out in the wild, and we found some level 4 rail fans in their natural environment.
And to keep traffic flowing nicely, they wanted the option of moving the helpers down grade on either track. Sometimes it made more sense to move them down grade against the current of traffic. That would require a train order. You can't just go against the current of traffic because the signal says it. And that's one of the things that I put in that article, that series of articles, is that block signal system doesn't replace or confer
Doesn't give
track authority.
Right.
Train orders and timetables do that. So they wired this so that the, in this case, the westward track, which is the one over there, that was wired.
Well, today is Sunday. I don't know what the date is. Do you know the date?
It is the 17th.
Sunday, September 17th, 2023. Just fired up the car and we're ready to head south from Tacoma. We're going to go to Aberdeen just to go to the end of US 12, Astoria, Oregon, and then down the Oregon coast. Hi kids, well here we are in Aberdeen, Washington. This is the end of US Highway 12. And it's kind of a big deal for me. We stayed on 12 from Minnesota across South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, and Washington, and it ends here in Aberdeen, Washington. It starts in downtown Detroit, but I don't think... No, we're still in Washington. Starts in downtown Detroit, but I don't think we're going to make it a goal to get to the beginning of it. But we're at the end. Now we're headed south down the Oregon coast. And here we are, my favorite tourist and me. We're going to be in Seaside, Oregon tonight. Yay, on the coast. The favorite tourist and I are at Fort Clatsop in Oregon. This is where Lewis and Clark and the Corps of Discovery spent a miserable winter, and then in the spring headed back east. So kind of a big deal here at Fort Clatsop in Oregon. So I wanted to show you this tree. This is a seriously large spruce tree. Now we're We're going to be seeing redwoods later, but this is a mighty big spruce.
Sitka spruce.
Sitka spruce. It is a basic tree that's really been spruced up.
Oh.
Well, here we are in Seaside, Oregon. The tourist and I are both here, and we have made it to this shining sea. There it is. And to be specific, it's the Pacific.
Just had a nice dinner at Moe's.
Moe's right over there. They're all over out here and they're great. So we hit a Moe's. We're going to enjoy the ocean for the next few days. Well, it's the next day. We're just south of Seaside on the Oregon coast, and we came across this view. There's our favorite tourist. And I'm guessing we're going to see a lot of this, but for right now, on this Monday morning, it's a pretty special view to us, so we're going to shoot it. It's a little windy out here today. It's gonna blow off my toupee. This is Lincoln City, Oregon, and it's windy and wavy. There are small craft advisories, and it's a little chilly here by the ocean. I like it. Anything you want to say about it, tourist? All right, check out these waves. We're in the, what is it, prehistoric garden, I think it is. And it's a rainforest. And this guy, 1955, created all these dinosaurs out of concrete, and they're still here, and they're supposedly accurate to their size. And it's a beautiful place, huge trees. The light in here is very orange today because there are fires very near here. I heard within 15 miles. And so it's making the sun very orange. So it's pretty to look at, but we don't like the reason. So let's look up a little bit.
Old growth trees.
These are huge old growth trees. Uh-oh, there's Triceratops over there. Ruh-roh. Don't want that one to get you. I think you can only experience it by being here. This video, I don't even think comes close to what we're seeing here. Well, there it is behind me. That is Mount Shasta. And I've just hiked to the top and come back down, and it was quite a hike. And if you believe that, okay. Anyway, of course you can't see the top because it's obscured by clouds, but we are here at Mount Shasta, and we enjoyed the drive up to the base anyway. Well, here the tourist and I are at Crater Lake National Park, and you can tell because it is iconic. Check it out. That's Wizard Island. So, Crater Lake, 1,943 feet deep, deepest lake in the U.S., 9th deepest in the world, 6 miles across. It sure doesn't seem like it. And somewhere out there is the log. It's got a name, I can't remember, but people follow it. It's a log that's floating vertically in the water, so part of it sticks out, and it's just been floating around there for decades. The log that's out there is called the Old Man of the Lake. I asked about it, and they said it was over on this side of the lake yesterday, but it can move up to 20 miles a day. So he's out there chugging around. We'll look for him. Our next destination after Crater Lake was Stanley, Idaho. Now, there are few people and few roads in eastern Oregon, so we drove north to Bend, and then we turned east. And the next town of any size is Burns, Oregon. Burns and its sister city, Hines, is one of the most isolated cities in the country, but they have a great Best Western. Between them, Burns and Hines have a population of fewer than 5,000 people. It's a county seat, and there's a hospital and a school district, but it's pretty isolated. If you can't find what you want in Burns or Hines, you have to drive 130 miles west to Bend, or you could head east to Ontario, Oregon, 130 miles, or you can go on to Boise, it's 190 miles. Want to go north? Pendleton, Oregon's the next town, 200 miles. I looked on the map and went south. The first place I'd ever heard of was Winnemucca, Nevada. It's 221 miles. We met some great people in Burns and Hines. So I pulled into a gas station, and two guys, one shy and one not, came out to fill my car with gas. I haven't seen this probably since I dialed a telephone, you know? That's how long it's been.
When you were in your 40s.
Yeah, right. Wow, cool.
Just kidding.
So frequently when we're in Minnesota, we go to Costco on Saturday night for a date. Date night. We are in Boise, Idaho, and we're at the Costco car wash. And so it's date night.
It's dragging us through.
It's dragging us. It's one of those that drags us through. So it's the tunnel of horrors for Marsha.
Ow!
So we are on a forest road that has a number, but of course it's pretty challenging. Well, it's just fine for the outback here, but Marsha's not having fun. Here's our view. There's a cliff and a road, and you know, what do you have to say, tourist?
You owe me a beer tonight.
As many as you want. Pretty cool stuff here. So we're up on this mountain road. Our tourist is doing well. Not she's doing well. This is a challenging road. Here's our view. That's pretty good, huh? And this is our road. We have the Outback in X mode for off-roading or challenging roads. Challenging roads. So, we had a great ride up the mountain. We didn't get to the pinnacle. The road was just getting too awful. But check out this view, huh? Craters of the Moon National Monument got the stamp in my book, and we are going to hike up there. All right, well, it's getting steep. We started, I think, about 5,000 feet, so the air's a little thin. But like I say, when I'm biking, you gear down and get down. So here we go. So I'm on top of this cinder thing at Craters of the Moon National Monument. We're going to collect a couple rocks. They're mostly pretty small and they're black, but we will grab this one and this one. And there we go. They've been here for 10 billion years, and they're coming back to Minnesota. We are in the town square in the middle of Jackson. It's not Jackson Hole, it's Jackson, Wyoming. The big valley here is called Jackson Hole, but the town itself is Jackson. And we just took our picture in front of the antlers. Check out the antlers. That's the arch of antlers. Are they elk antlers?
I believe so.
Elk antlers. Hi kids, so we are at Jenny Lake in the Tetons tonight. And I'm shooting a little video here tonight just because this was the first place we went, and we're going to come back here tomorrow when the light's nice. But out of all the fantastic places I have seen, Jenny Lake is toward the top of the list. And we're talking Stonehenge, the falls at Yellowstone, the tides on the Bay of Fundy. I've seen some pretty cool stuff. There's a lot more to come, but Jenny Lake is just outstanding. It's like living in a postcard here.
And he gets to see it with me.
And I get to see it with Marcia. We'll be back tomorrow and take some great pictures when the light's right. My favorite tourist and I are now at Jenny Lake, but it's morning, so the light's much better. Here it is. We're at the top of the mountain, took the tram up. What do you think there, tourist?
I'm just fine.
Okay, so Marcia doesn't care for heights, but you know, this thing is pretty big. I mean, there's New York apartments that are smaller. This is pretty cool though. Check it out. Really? You're out here? Okay. Okay, I'm gonna hang on to my hat so the devil can't take it.
Honey?
And that is Grand Teton right there.
Honey, yes,
Yes.
I'm up here.
Yes, look at you, our favorite
Oh.
tourist. Pretty cool. This is a big deal for her to be up here, it really is. They call it the top of the world, and it's not Everest, but it's pretty high.
It's reassuring. Yeah. It's like the worst possible. Yeah.
So the tram, is this here year-round? It is.
Yeah, we close to a skiable area that we do.
Yeah, like I kind of want to do that one.
And you know, like, Jason is like kind of famous.
Nearby?
Yeah, I live in the town.
Oh, in town,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. There is in the hotel.
So with that being said, it's probably not worth us having to drive here. It's still a nice resort.
What do you think, tourist? No swimming, no diving. My favorite tourist and we're going over Beartooth Pass just before it closes, and she's got gum, not gummies, but gum. 8,811 feet right here at this rest area. So we're going up to, I think, 11.5 maybe. That's that way. We're having a great time. I think this is the 6th time I've driven over or been over Beartooth Pass. I love it. One of the best drives in the world. Yay. Yeah. Yeah, let's turn it around. And there's the view that we are seeing from up here. That is pretty darn cool, huh? Yeah. Well, tourist and I are on Beartooth Pass, and we're on our way down almost to Red Lodge. And there's this great overlook and rest area here. She is doing so well. Better than driving through Jackson, which is just way too many people. But check out this view, huh?
Check out that road we were on.
Well, that's the one we're going to be on down there.
Ah!
We'll get there. I assume those are aspens that are turning yellow. So get some yellow there.
What do you think the temperature is here?
The temperature in the car was 55 last I looked. It was 49 at the top. But check out that. That's, you wouldn't want to fall off that. It's not straight down, but you couldn't stop yourself. Anyway, the road straightens out down there and goes into Red Lodge. I like that dirt road over there. I remember seeing that years ago and thinking, I want to take a Jeep up that. What do you mean, no? I remember distinctly saying I want to take a Jeep up that.
No.
That's all right. All right, off to Red Lodge, Laurel tonight. We're going to be in Medora tomorrow. Well, we're going to visit Medora, get to Dickinson, and then home on Friday and get to see our scout. Yay. Look at the road up there, huh? Yeah, we were there. Yeah. That's just a great, that's a great view, huh? We have our tourists driving. We're in the Theodore Roosevelt National Grassland, Medora. Always got to stop in Medora.
And here we've got wild horses. How cool. They look quite healthy.
All right, well, here we come home. We're just pulling in the driveway. Here it is. And if we had gotten home a half hour ago, it would have been 3 weeks to the hour, but we're a half hour late. So here we are home. It is 5,728 miles. How did our tourists do?
No wonder I'm tired.
Yeah, it's been a great trip, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
No.
Yeah.